Change doesn't ask permission. It doesn't wait for a convenient time. It doesn't care that you just got things settled, that you finally feel like you have a rhythm, or that you're already carrying more than you can comfortably hold. And here's the thing most people don't realize until they're deep in it. If your sense of stability depends on your circumstances staying the same, you're going to spend a lot of your life feeling like the rug is constantly being pulled out from under you. I know that feeling. I've lived that feeling. And I've worked with enough people to know that what most of us are missing isn't more information, and it isn't more discipline. It's an anchor, something that holds when everything else moves. And that's what this video is about. And before we're done, I'm going to point you to something specific, a free resource that will show you exactly where to start based on what's going on in your life right now. So stay with me. I'm Brian Nichols, founder of Solving for Change, and I want to describe two types of people I run into all the time when it comes to navigating change. The first person says, I'm handling it. And if you know them well, you can see what that actually looks like. They're white-knuckling through it, holding it together on the outside, running on empty on the inside. Going through the motions at work, distracted at home, telling themselves that once this season settles down, they'll get their life back in order. But you and I both know the truth. Things never settle down. The second person doesn't even say that much. They've just got this look, this combination of exhaustion and embarrassment. Like they feel like they should know how to handle this better than they do. Like everyone else has it all figured out and they somehow missed the memo. Here's what both of those people have in common. They're trying to find stability by managing what's happening around them, and it never works. Because change, by definition, isn't something you can control. Here's the honest question I want you to sit with for a second. What are you actually built on? I want to offer you a reframe. And this one has changed everything for me personally and for the leaders I coach. The goal is not to stop the ground from moving. The goal is to build something inside you that doesn't move with it. Think about it this way. A ship doesn't get its stability from calm water. It gets it from ballast, weight below the waterline that keeps it upright even when the surface is rough. The water can do whatever it wants. The ship holds. Most of us are spending all of our energy trying to calm the water. What we actually need is to build the ballast. And I want to show you what that actually looks like, not as a concept, but in real life, under the highest possible stakes. April 13th, 1970. 3 astronauts, Jim Lovell, Jack Swigert, and Fred Hayes. They were 200,000 miles from Earth, 2 days into a mission to the moon. Everything was going according to plan. And then, without warning, an oxygen tank in the service module exploded. In an instant, everything the mission depended on was gone. The power, the oxygen supply, the original flight plan, the lunar landing they had trained years for, all of it gone. Jim Lovell looked out the window and watched oxygen venting into space, and he got on the radio and said the words that became part of history. Houston, we've had a problem. Now, here's what I want you to pay attention to. Not the explosion, what happened after the explosion. Mission Control didn't panic. They didn't freeze. Flight Director Gene Kranz gathered his team and said something that has stayed with me ever since I heard it. Let's work the problem. Let's not make things worse by guessing. Not denial, not catastrophizing, not how did this happen or who's to blame. Just work the problem. One thing at a time, next right step. They had something to reach for when the plan fell apart. And because they had it, they stayed grounded at 200,000 miles from Earth, with 3 men's lives on the line in a situation nobody had specifically trained for, and yet brought everyone home alive. 4 days later, the crew splashed down safely in the Pacific Ocean. The mission failed. The mission did not break them. But what they were built on didn't move when circumstances did. That's what I want for you. So what is that ballast for you? What is the thing that holds when everything else moves? It comes down to three things. Number one, clarity about what actually matters. When everything is shifting around you, the people who stay grounded are the ones who know at a deep level what they're not willing to compromise. Their family, their integrity, their faith, the work they know they're called to do. When you know what actually matters, you have a filter for every decision. You're not trying to respond to everything anymore. You're responding from something. And that's a completely different operating mode. Here's what I notice about people who are drifting, and I've definitely been one of them. They don't lack values. They've just lost touch with them in the noise. The busyness has buried them. So every day feels like reacting to whatever's loudest instead of living from whatever's truest. Clarity about what matters is the foundation. Everything else builds on it. Number two, a daily practice that recenters you. Knowing what matters isn't enough on its own. Because here's what happens. You know at some level what your priorities are. But then the day starts. The emails come. The demands stack up. Someone needs something from you before you've even had a chance to think. And by 9 a.m., you're already reacting instead of leading. What I've found, and I've built this into the core of everything we do at Solving for Change, is that people who navigate change well don't just have values. They have a practice that reconnects them to those values every single day before the world gets loud. For me and for all Solving for Change members, that practice is called My Daily Compass. It's a short, structured practice. It takes 5 minutes or less, and it does one thing. It gets you grounded before the day starts running you, before the first notification, before the first demand, before you're already behind. I'm going to do a dedicated video here on exactly how it works, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss that one. But the principle is simple, and I don't want you to miss it. You don't find your footing in the middle of the storm. You establish it before the storm hits. Number three, a framework for the unexpected. Even with clarity and a daily practice, change is going to surprise you. Things are going to happen that you didn't plan for, couldn't have planned for, and certainly wouldn't have chosen. The difference between people who adapt well and people who unravel isn't that the first group got lucky. It's that they have a way of processing the unexpected, a framework they can reach for when things don't go according to plan. Remember Gene Kranz? Let's work the problem. 4 words. That's a framework. It's not complicated, but it held under conditions most of us will never face. You need your version of that. A set of questions you know how to ask when circumstances knock you sideways. A way of getting back to center when the plan falls apart. Because the plan will fall apart. That's not pessimism, it's just how change works. One of the things we focus on with the people we work with is helping them build that. Not a generic framework borrowed from a book, but one that's actually calibrated to how they're wired, what they're navigating, and where they're going. Here's where I want to point you. If what I'm describing today resonates, if you're in a season where the ground is moving and you're looking for something that will actually hold, I want to invite you to take a free assessment at solvingforchange.com. It's going to help you identify specifically where the instability is showing up in your life right now, at work, at home, and in your own head, and what kind of support is going to make the biggest difference for you in this season. It literally takes about 2 minutes, and it costs nothing. But it genuinely gives you a clear picture of exactly where to start. Not a generic answer, your answer. The link is in the description below. And if you're watching this on your TV right now, scan the QR code on the screen and it'll take you right there from your phone. Here's what I want to leave you with today. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're not somehow the only person who loses their footing when life gets hard. Every capable, driven, accomplished person I've ever coached has been through a season where they felt like they didn't recognize themselves anymore. Where the confidence they used to operate from felt like it belonged to someone else. But that's not the end of your story. It might actually be the beginning of the most important chapter of it. The only constant in life is change. But when it hits, Your center doesn't have to move with it. I'll see you in the next video. If this resonated with you, the best thing you can do right now is subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. We're just getting started. And if you know someone who's in a season of change right now, share this with them. It might be exactly what they need to hear today.